Ah, my audience, let me take you to a place where the rules don't apply, where fear is a tool, and pain is the currency in which the world trades. I know you feel it, don't you? That hunger deep down inside, that desire to crush the ones who've always been at the top, always watching from their thrones, always in control. The time has come for the hunter to become the hunted. Their game is demolished. You just made their world collapse. It's no longer about waiting for a chance or following their rules. No, you've done something far worse. You've stolen their power from beneath their feet. They've lived their lives in a world of comfort, built on the blood and sweat of those beneath them. But now it's different. Now their fortress is in ruins, and it's all because of you. You think back on how it all started, how they laughed at you, how they looked down on you, as if you were nothing but a speck of dust beneath their boots. They saw you as weak and insignificant, something to be ignored and discarded. They had no idea the storm you were brewing inside, no idea what would come of it. But now they feel it, don't they? They feel the weight of their mistakes crushing them. The lies they told themselves to justify their existence are falling apart. The games they played with people's lives are coming back to haunt them. The walls they built around their delicate little world have been torn down brick by brick, and every sound, every crack of the stone reverberates in their ears as they realize that they're no longer safe, that everything they worked so hard to create has become a house of cards. And who made that happen? You. They thought they could control everything. They thought they could dictate who rises and who falls. They thought they had it all figured out. But there's one thing they didn't count on. One thing they could never see coming. You. The one who was supposed to stay in the shadows. The one who wasn't even supposed to matter. You've taken everything they took for granted and turned it against them. And now, they're scrambling, trying to pick up the pieces of a broken empire that no longer has a foundation. What's funny is that they'll never understand how they lost. They'll never comprehend the precision with which you moved. They'll never know the depth of the plans you made, the endless hours you spent plotting your moves. They'll never know the sacrifices you made to get here. They'll never know the pain you endured in silence while they reveled in their false sense of security. And that's what makes this so sweet. It's not just the victory. It's the fact that they'll never see you coming. It's the fact that they'll never know who to blame for their downfall. They thought they were untouchable, but you've proven them wrong in the most brutal way possible. You've made them realize that no one is safe, that no one is invincible, that their time is up. But what about you? What happens now that their world is crumbling at your feet? It's easy to think that the battle is over, to think that the fight is done, and you can rest easy now. But no, this is only the beginning. This is when the real work starts. This is when you start to build from the ashes of what they destroyed. This is when you start to lay the foundations for a new world, one that no one can break. You have the power now. You have the control. You have the ability to shape reality to your will. And while they're busy trying to pick themselves up, you're already planning your next move. You're already preparing for what comes next, because you know that you can't stop now. Not when you've come so far. Not when you've seen the destruction you've caused. They'll try to fight back. They'll try to rally their forces and take what's yours. But they're too late. They're already too weak. Their empire is already in ruins. They've lost the only thing that ever mattered, their grip on power. And without that, they have nothing. They'll beg. They'll plead. But it won't matter. Because you're the one who's in control now. You're the one who holds the cards. And it's your turn to make them fall to their knees and beg for mercy. And let's be clear about one thing. Mercy is not something you owe them. Mercy is for the weak. Mercy is for the ones who have something left to lose. They have nothing. They lost it all when they underestimated you. They lost it all when they thought you were nothing more than a pawn in their game. Now, it's your turn to play. And the rules are simple. There are no rules. There's no honor, no mercy, no second chances. You've taken everything from them. Now it's time to make sure they understand the cost of their actions. Make sure they understand the price of crossing you. It's not just about power. It's about respect. It's about showing them that no one gets to play in this world without paying the price. It's about showing them that you are not a force to be underestimated, that you are not someone to be pushed aside, that you are the one who controls their fate now. The game they've played is over. Their empire is gone. And what's left? What's left is a shattered world that they no longer have the strength to hold together. What's left is the chaos they created when they decided to mess with you. And it's beautiful, isn't it? To watch everything they worked so hard to build fall apart, to watch them crumble under the weight of their own arrogance, to see them begging for a way out of the mess they created. And it's only fitting, isn't it? After all, they never thought you would amount to anything. They thought you were too small, too weak, too insignificant to make a difference. They thought they could keep pushing you down, keep suppressing you, keep telling you that you didn't belong. They thought they could control your destiny, but they were wrong. And now they'll see just how wrong they were. You are the storm they never saw coming. You are the one who changed everything. You are the one who destroyed their world. And you did it all on your terms. No more waiting. No more playing by their rules. No more taking orders from anyone. You've taken what's rightfully yours, and now the world belongs to you. As they watch their empire crumble before their eyes, they'll realize something they never expected. They'll realize that they've lost more than just power. They've lost their place in the world. And they'll wonder how it happened. They'll wonder how they let someone like you slip through the cracks. They'll wonder how they were so blind, so arrogant to think they could never be touched. And by the time they figure it out, it will be too late. This is the price they pay for underestimating you. This is the cost of their arrogance. This is the price they pay for thinking they could play with you and get away with it. And now that they know what it feels like to fall, they'll never forget. Never forget that you were the one who made them fall. Never forget that you were the one who took everything from them. Never forget that you were the one who destroyed their world. So let them watch as their empire falls to pieces. Let them scream. Let them beg. Let them suffer. Because this is what happens when you challenge the wrong person. This is what happens when you push too far. And now you get to watch as their world collapses all around them. And in the end, you'll stand tall. You'll stand tall, knowing that you were the one who brought them down. You were the one who tore apart their world and built something new in its place. You were the one who destroyed their empire and claimed your rightful place at the top. You were the one who showed them the true cost of underestimating you. Look at them now. Look at how they scramble, how they run through the ruins they've built, how they try to salvage the fragments of the empire they thought would stand forever. Do you hear the desperation in their voices? Do you see the panic in their eyes? It's a beautiful sight, isn't it? A testament to your power, your resolve, and the fact that they had underestimated you at every turn. All the while, they believed that their dominion was unshakable, their position irrevocable. But you saw their weaknesses. You saw the cracks beneath their smooth exterior. And now they're paying the price. But let's talk about the journey that led us here. Let's talk about the moments when you were nothing to them, when you were invisible, when they looked right through you, as if you weren't even worth their attention. They didn't know the fire you were feeding inside, did they? They couldn't see the determination in your heart, the obsession in your mind, the unwavering focus with which you were plotting their downfall. It was never just about power, was it? It was about proving that you could. Proving that they weren't untouchable. Proving that even the strongest walls crumble when faced with the right force. And that force was you. They thought they were above it all, above the struggles of the common people, above the pain that others had to endure. They thought they were invincible, untouchable, gods among men. And for so long, they ruled with this delusion, crushing anyone who dared to challenge their place. They mocked your ambition. They ridiculed your dreams. But now they see the consequences of their arrogance. The walls they built around themselves have turned to dust, and with each gust of wind, their empire dissipates into the air like a forgotten memory. And you stand in the center of the wreckage, the calm in the storm, the architect of their ruin. They're all trying to salvage what they can, trying to piece together the shattered remains of their former glory. But deep down they know it's over. It's done. The world they controlled has been ripped from their hands, and the worst part is, they don't even know how it happened. They thought they could control everything. They thought they could control you. But they made one fatal mistake. They never saw the truth. They never saw the fire inside you. And they certainly never saw the end coming. You didn't need to be the strongest to defeat them. You didn't need to be the most ruthless. No, you only needed one thing: patience. Patience to wait. Patience to build. Patience to strike at the perfect moment. And now, in this moment, you stand victorious. They are broken, scattered, and confused. They have lost everything, and you've gained it all. Their world collapsed because of your brilliance, your precision, your ability to calculate every move, to anticipate every countermeasure they might have taken, and to turn it against them. You never rushed. You never showed your hand too soon. You knew the value of silence, of appearing insignificant until the time came for your true power to show. And when it did, when it came, they had no idea how to handle it. They never even saw it coming. And this is the part where they truly begin to understand the weight of what's happening. As they look around at the shattered empire, as they watch the pieces fall apart, they'll realize that there's no one left to protect them. Their allies have turned away. Their supporters have abandoned them. The foundation they built their entire existence upon is gone. And in that moment of silence, in that moment when all that remains is their broken empire, they'll finally grasp the truth. They have no power anymore, not without you. Now let's turn the lens back onto you. You who have suffered in silence for so long. You who have fought in the shadows, overlooked and ignored, while they bathed in the luxury of their privilege. You were never supposed to matter. You were always the underdog. But look at you now. You've done what no one thought possible. You've brought them to their knees. And with every step they take toward trying to rebuild what's been lost, they'll realize that their effort is in vain. They'll fight for scraps, but those scraps will never be enough. This storm you unleashed will continue to rage, and they will be caught in it, helpless. They thought they were in control. They thought they could dominate every aspect of life. But you've turned the tables. You've rewritten the rules. And they're now mere pawns in a game they never understood. They'll try to fight back. Of course they will. They'll try to rally their forces, to launch counterattacks, to scheme their way back into power. But it will be futile. They won't understand that they are already defeated. They'll waste their energy, their time, their resources, trying to claw their way back to something that no longer exists. And as they do, they'll feel it. The weight of their mistakes, the weight of their underestimation of you, the weight of their arrogance and their assumption that they would always hold the upper hand. They'll never escape the realization that the very foundation of their existence has been destroyed by the one person they thought was beneath them. And let's not pretend that this journey was easy. Let's not pretend that you didn't suffer, that you didn't sacrifice, that you didn't bleed for this victory. You didn't just waltz into their world and take control. Number you fought for every inch, every step. You bled for this moment. You gave everything you had to bring their empire down. But you know what makes it even sweeter? You did it on your terms. No one gave you this power. No one handed it to you. You earned it. You took it. And you did it when they least expected it. And now they can do nothing but watch as their world burns. Their fall wasn't a result of some grand accident. It wasn't luck. It was inevitable. You knew that from the very beginning. You knew that their time was limited. You knew their flaws. You knew how they would react under pressure. You knew their weaknesses. And that's how you struck. You took your time. You allowed them to dig their own graves while you quietly positioned yourself. And when the moment came, when it was time to act, you did so with the precision of a surgeon, with the cold ruthlessness of someone who had nothing left to lose. You didn't need to be brutal. You didn't need to be excessive. You only needed to be right. And you were. Every move you made was a step closer to their undoing. Every word you spoke was a hammer driving the nails deeper into their coffin. And so now, they are nothing. They are powerless. The game they've been playing has been shattered, destroyed beyond recognition, and they have no idea what to do with themselves. They thought they had the world at their feet, but all they have now is rubble. Their empire, their legacy, their grip on power, it's all gone. And here you are, standing in the ruins, knowing full well that this is only the beginning. What comes next? You have the power to shape the future. You have the opportunity to build something new, something greater. But remember, don't ever forget what it took to get here. Don't ever forget the feeling of bringing them to their knees, of watching their world collapse beneath their feet. Let that fuel you. Let it drive you to continue on the path you've started. Because now nothing can stop you. Nothing. Their world has collapsed, and you were the one who tore it down. You did. You, the one they dismissed, the one they thought was nothing, the one they ignored, as though you weren't capable of reaching the heights they climbed. You tore down the very world they built for themselves, the illusion they crafted, the fortress they thought was impenetrable, was crumbled into nothing. And it wasn't because of their mistakes alone. No, it was because you knew better. You understood their game better than they did. You watched them carefully, you studied their moves, and you anticipated every step they would take. You had a vision of their future, one that involved their downfall, and you made that vision a reality. The truth is, they never even realized that they were living in a house of cards. They thought they could stay on top forever. They thought their decisions were final, that no one could challenge their position. They never considered that the very empire they built was fragile, that it was always going to be vulnerable to someone with enough wit, enough resilience, enough patience. You came from nothing, no one to guide you, no throne to inherit, but you had something more powerful than any of that, the will to survive and the knowledge that power isn't a birthright. Power is earned, power is taken. And when it was your turn to claim what was yours, you didn't hesitate. You didn't wait. You didn't let the opportunity slip through your fingers. You were there in the shadows, watching, waiting. While they flaunted their success, their false sense of superiority, you honed your skills. You played the long game. And now the results are here. They look at their shattered world and wonder what went wrong, but they'll never understand. they'll never grasp that the reason they lost was because they underestimated the quiet ones, the ones who had nothing to lose, the ones who were so hungry that they'd tear down every obstacle brick by brick until nothing stood in their way. Think about it. They spent years building their empire, but it was built on a lie. They used others to rise. They trampled on those beneath them to stay in power. They convinced themselves they were invincible. They thought they could break people without consequence, destroy lives without retribution. They were so confident that nothing could ever touch them. But now they can't even recognize themselves in the wreckage. Their world collapsed, and you were the one who set the wheels in motion. They thought they could control the chaos. They thought they could manipulate people, bend the world to their will, and never have to face the consequences. But you were the storm they didn't see coming. You were the one they never took seriously, the one they laughed at behind closed doors. Now they're facing the reality of their choices, and it's all because of you. But let's talk about you for a moment. You weren't always this powerful. You weren't always the one who stood tall in the aftermath of destruction. There was a time when you were the one who watched from the sidelines, the one who wondered why others had what they did. You were the one who questioned why some people were born into power, while others had to fight for every scrap of it. But you didn't wallow in self-pity. You didn't let those feelings consume you. No, instead, you channeled that anger into something greater. You turned your frustration into fuel, your pain into determination. Every slight, every insult, every rejection you faced, those moments became your motivation. You weren't born with a silver spoon. You weren't born into a life of luxury or privilege, but you had something even more powerful: resilience, the ability to keep going when everything seemed impossible. And now, look at what you built. Look at what you've accomplished. You didn't just survive the world they tried to force on you. You thrived in it. You figured out the rules, and then you broke them. Their empire was never as strong as they thought. It was built on the suffering of others, on manipulation and deceit. And that's why it collapsed. That's why they crumbled under the weight of their own greed and arrogance. You didn't need to be ruthless. You didn't need to be cruel. You just needed to be smarter. You needed to understand the game better than they did. And when the time came, you played it better than anyone else. Think about their reaction as they watched everything they worked for disappear in front of them. They thought they could control you, that they could manipulate your every move. But they didn't realize that you were always one step ahead. Every time they thought they had you cornered, every time they thought they'd broken you, you adapted. You learned from your mistakes, from their mistakes, and you used that knowledge to your advantage. They couldn't even see it coming. You were so far ahead that they were only playing catch-up. And now, as they stand amidst the ruins of what was once their world, they see the destruction they wrought. They see how they destroyed others to get where they are, how they crushed people beneath their boots to maintain control. They didn't realize that eventually someone would rise up. They didn't realize that their cruelty, their apathy, their arrogance would all come back to haunt them, and that someone was you. They never took you seriously. They thought you were a fleeting threat, a passing annoyance. They never realized that you were the reckoning. You were the one who was going to make them pay for their actions. They mocked you. They laughed at your ambitions. But now, the joke's on them. They're the ones who are on their knees, begging for mercy, begging for a way out. They thought they could control everything. They thought they could manipulate the system. But now, they've lost it all. And let's not forget how sweet this victory truly is. Because this isn't just about power. It's not just about money, status, or control. Number This victory is about something deeper. It's about the triumph of the underdog. It's about proving that no matter how big the odds are stacked against you, no matter how many times you're pushed down, you can rise again. It's about showing them that you were never the weak one. You were never the one to underestimate. And now, in this moment, you stand on top. You stand where they once stood, and you look down upon them as they grovel at your feet. Their game is over. Their empire is in ruins, and they'll never recover from this. You've taken everything from them, and in doing so, you've claimed the power that was rightfully yours all along. They'll try to regroup, they'll try to rebuild, but it won't matter, because you know what they don't. That power is fleeting. It's like sand slipping through their fingers. It's like a shadow that disappears when the light shines too brightly. And you're the light. You're the force they can't escape. They'll look at you with hatred in their eyes, and they'll curse your name. They'll try to drag you down, but it won't matter, because they'll never be able to touch you. They'll never be able to take back what you've taken from them. You've proven that no one, not even those who seem untouchable, are beyond reach. And in the end, you'll stand victorious. You'll stand tall as they crumble beneath the weight of their own mistakes. You were the one who tore their world down, and now you will rise from the ashes of their empire and build something new, something that no one will ever be able to destroy. In the end, it's clear. You weren't just another player in their game. You were the one who dismantled everything they built, piece by piece, until it all came crashing down. They thought they could control everything, but you showed them that power isn't permanent. It's earned, it's fought for, and it can be taken away. You were the storm they never saw coming, and now, with their empire in ruins, you stand at the top, unstoppable, ready to claim what's rightfully yours. The world they built, it's gone. And yours is just beginning.